Did you know that the secret ingredient behind the rich, irresistible flavor of your favorite cold beer is a flower? That's right, hops. A small flower with a powerful role, the very soul of the global beer industry. But here's the surprising part. In many countries, hops are sparking an agricultural revolution, where farmers aren't just preserving an old tradition, but earning billions of VND each year from this humble plant. So, what exactly makes hops the green gold of modern agriculture? All will be revealed in today's video. Hops belong to the Cannabaceae family, closely related to cannabis and hemp. But don't panic. Hops contain no psychoactive substances. Instead, they're a key ingredient in beer production, one of the most widely consumed beverages worldwide. Each tiny dried hop cone is packed with lupulin resin, which gives beer its distinct flavor, bitterness, aroma, and even helps preserve it. What's more, different hop varieties give beer unique personalities, a trait especially prized in the craft beer world. That's why hops have become a premium agricultural commodity, with their market value skyrocketing over the past decade. Historically, hops were mainly grown in parts of Europe like Germany and England. But since the craft beer boom began in the early 2010s, demand for hops has exploded globally. According to the Brewers Association, the U.S. alone had over 9,500 active breweries by 2024, with most prioritizing fresh, high-quality, locally grown hops. As a result, hop farms in Oregon, Washington, and Idaho have become gold mines for farmers. Hops aren't something you can grow casually or harvest on a whim. This is a high-maintenance crop that requires advanced techniques, strategic investments, and specialized knowledge to ensure both quality and commercial value. Depending on local climate and production goals, farmers select the most suitable hop varieties. They then build towering trellis systems, 6 to 8 meters high. Because hops grow vertically and can reach up to 10 meters, this is both a technical challenge and a considerable cost in materials and labor. Next comes the irrigation system, often using drip methods paired with organic fertilizers, to ensure nutrient-rich soil without waste or pollution. Throughout the growing season, especially during the blooming phase, growers must closely monitor humidity, temperature, and pest control. Hops are particularly vulnerable to fungus and aphids, fierce enemies that can devastate an entire crop if left unchecked. Around August to September, when lupulin levels are at their peak, hops are harvested, either by hand or with specialized machines. They are then immediately processed and dried at low temperatures. This is a critical stage, because drying hops too hot or too long can evaporate up to 70% of their aroma oils and lupulin, destroying both their flavor and market value. Once dried, hops are either compressed into pellets or stored whole, ready for brewing. In beer production, hops are added in multiple stages, early on for bitterness, then later for aroma. After boiling, the beer mixture is fermented using yeast, which converts sugars into alcohol and CO2, then it's filtered, bottled, and distributed. The presence of hops throughout this process is what creates the vast diversity in beer flavors. And that's why hops aren't just a crop, they're a catalyst for a multi-billion-dollar beer industry, and a sustainable income source for thousands of farmers worldwide. In some regions, farmers earn up to $10 million annually from hops alone. Beyond beer, hops are now finding value in cosmetics, supplements, herbal medicine, and even organic livestock feed. The hop market is expanding fast, and its worth is no longer tied solely to traditional beer making.
Have you ever used pine nuts in your daily meals? They are also known as the caviar of nuts, to see how great their value is. Currently, China is the world's largest producer of pine nuts, accounting for a large part of the world's pine nut production. Every year, farmers can earn hundreds of thousands of dollars from harvesting and processing pine nuts. Let's explore with us how to harvest and process tons of pine nuts. Although pine nuts are grown in many regions of the world from Asia to Europe and the United States, China has a long history of growing pine nuts and is famous for its high-quality pine nut varieties. This country also leads the export of pine nuts with about 15,000 tons, accounting for 64% of the world market share. Jilin Province, located in northern China, is China's main pine nut producing region. Choosing the right pine tree variety is important because not all pine trees produce seed suitable for human consumption, and the variety must be adapted to the soil and climate conditions. Farmers mainly grow pine trees from seedlings because it is easier and more convenient to cultivate. This tree is known for its slow growth rate and late maturity. It can take several years before the tree starts producing pine cones, so farmers who grow this tree need to be patient. After many years of care, pine trees will produce fruit and seeds that usually ripen in late summer to early fall. At this time, farmers will harvest the pine cones, which you can see in the cone shape. When ripe, they will open and the seeds can be easily separated. Hand harvesting is common on smaller farms, while larger farms may use mechanical methods. Mechanical harvesting often uses vibrating machines similar to those used to harvest olives or pistachios. The vibrating machines gently vibrate the pine tree's trunks to cause the pine cones to fall to the ground, where workers collect the cones into baskets or large containers. Some farms will spread tarps under the trees so the pine cones can fall onto the tarps, ensuring a safer harvest. In addition to the two harvesting methods above, the Chinese also came up with a unique method that you cannot see in any other area, which is using hot air balloons. Accordingly, farmers will use hot air balloons to fly up to the pine tree tops and use long sticks to hit the fruit to make it fall down. The hot air balloons are tied with many strings at the bottom to prevent them from flying too high. However, this method is quite dangerous and is only applied in some areas in China. After harvesting, pine nuts need to be processed and stored properly, often requiring the removal of the outer shell, which can be done manually or with the help of specialized equipment. Workers often use some tools to break the outer shell or crush them to harvest the pine nuts inside. The remaining pine nuts are quite similar to pistachios because they have a hard shell surrounding the outside, and people usually keep the shell intact during further processing and packaging. Some processors perform the shelling process to harvest only the white seed inside. Once the shelling process is complete, the pine nuts are dried, the moisture content of which depends on the species, so different drying methods and temperatures are needed. Before packaging, pine nuts are classified into 3 types, such as premium grade, grade 1, or grade 2. At this point, pine nuts are ready to be vacuum packed and shipped to customers. In addition to processing instant pine nuts, this type of nut is also an important ingredient in many different processing industries, such as oil pressing, baking, or milk processing, because pine nuts contain many important nutrients for human health. Pine nuts are packed with valuable nutrients that help keep the body healthy. Pine nuts contain plant protein and natural fiber, while most of their fat content consists of polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fatty acids, known as good fats, which help protect heart health. Furthermore, pine nuts are a rich source of minerals and trace elements, such as phosphorus, magnesium, zinc, manganese, iron, and calcium. They are also rich in vitamins E and K and antioxidants, such as polyphenols and carotenoids, which contribute to the control of cholesterol levels in the body. We have just followed the magical journey of pine nuts from harvest to consumption. How do you feel about this video? Leave your comments below to let us know. In Turkey, there is a wonderful gift from nature. Those are beautiful olives. But today, we will not talk about olive oil. Instead, we will discover a new secret: olive soap. You may wish you knew about this soap earlier because it is really good for your skin. And of course, behind these soaps will be a long story about Turkish olive cultivation. Let me explore with you in this video. Turkey is not only famous for its grilled meat or apple tea, but is also a giant in the olive production industry. Ranked in the top 5 countries with the largest olive growing area in the world, with an area of up to 889,168 hectares, Turkey accounts for about 7% of the global olive production area. And did you know they also supply about 10% of the world's olive oil? In 2022 to 2023, Turkey set a record with 421,000 tons of olive oil and 735,000 tons of edible olives. These numbers alone are enough to make you say, wow, right? Every olive grower in Turkey knows the best time to harvest. And don't be surprised to learn that green and black olives come from the same tree. The only difference is that black olives are ripe, while green olives are not. Depending on when you harvest, the olives will have a different flavor, which directly affects the quality of the olive oil or pickled olives. In late autumn in Turkey, thousands of families and factories prepare for the olive harvest. Olives can be harvested by hand or by modern machines. But either way, fresh olives are brought to the mill to be processed into famous products like olive oil or soap. And this is where the magic begins. After harvesting olives, instead of just pressing them for oil to eat, the Turks also used them to create wonderful soaps. And here is the secret behind these miraculous soaps. Olive soap is made from pure olive oil. No chemicals, completely natural. You can use it to moisturize your skin without worrying about irritation. These soap recipes have been passed down from generation to generation and have become an indispensable part of Turkish culture. Making olive soap is an extremely meticulous and delicate manual process. First, caustic soda, NaOH, will be mixed with water to form a mixture at high temperature, then slowly mixed into olive oil. They look a lot like buttercream, right? But don't be foolish enough to taste it. When the saponification process is complete, the mixture will be poured into molds. Wait about 2 to 3 days for it to solidify, then cut into bars. Before the soap dries, the craftsman will quickly divide the soap into small, even bars. Attaching the logo in this traditional way seems simple, but it also takes a lot of effort from the craftsman. Finally, the soap is left to dry for about 1.5 to 2 months before it can be used. Traditional soaps are recognized by their square, slightly rough, but still beautiful edges. And if you didn't know, green soap is made from green olives, while white soap is made from ripe olives. One reason why olive soap is so popular is because it has excellent skincare properties. Free from chemicals, olive soap cleanses without stripping the skin of its natural moisture. Furthermore, thanks to the anti-inflammatory and moisturizing properties of olive oil, this soap can also help treat skin problems such as eczema, psoriasis, or scabies. Therefore, not only in Turkey, olive soap is also exported to many other countries, especially demanding markets such as Europe and North America, where the trend of consuming natural and clean products is on the rise. From vast olive fields to pure olive soap bars, Turkey has maintained this tradition for hundreds of years. So, are you ready to try this natural soap? Share your thoughts in the comments below.
Usually farmers wait for the right rains to harvest a bountiful harvest, but it's different for date and grape growers in Pakistan. Rain can ruin crops, so they always hope for dry weather. However, not every season in Pakistan has delicious dates and grapes. To overcome this, farmers have come up with special preservation methods. Let's find out how they preserve these precious products all year round. This is how Pakistani farmers preserve 1,000-year-old dates and grapes. Pakistan is one of the world's largest producers and exporters of dates, with an annual output of around 560,000 tons. Arid regions such as Sindh and Balochistan contribute more than 90% of the country's date production. Date palm can grow up to 30 meters tall, with over 300 different varieties. Dates are nutritious, rich in vitamins and minerals, and good for health. During Ramadan, dates are a valuable source of energy for those fasting. It takes about 7 months from when the date palm flowers until the fruit can be harvested. The dates are hand-pollinated, which takes place around September to October when the temperature is most favorable. Male date pollen can be stored and used when needed. Usually when the dates reach the ripening stage, the farmers will start harvesting. Each heavy bunch of dates is picked. The damaged dates are removed, then all will be transported to the factory to be separated from the bunch. The yellow dates are washed and blanched in boiling water for about 15 to 20 minutes, then dried. It takes up to 5 days for dates to become dry dates and be ready for packaging before sale. In this way, dates can be exported around the world without being damaged. Today, there are dry date processing factories with the support of modern machinery, making the production of dry dates easier. In particular, production according to modern processes also helps control quality, thereby increasing the value of the product in the market. Fresh dates are usually exported to countries like the United States, Canada, France, Bangladesh, Indonesia, Malaysia, Germany, UAE, etc. While dried dates are mainly exported to India. About 95% of the exports are dried dates, and only about 5% are exported as sterilized fresh dates. which is even less than 1% of the total date production in the country. Similar to date palms, grapes are also an important part of Pakistan's agriculture. Although grapes do not require as much sunlight as date palms, they are also suitable for growing in dry, loose soil. According to statistics, more than 70% of Pakistan's grape production is concentrated in Balochistan and some small neighboring regions. Most of the grapes will be sold as fresh grapes, serving local demand. Fresh grapes cannot produce all year round. To keep these berries fresh for the longest time, they use a very unique preservation method, clay barrels. First, they use clay to shape deep barrels of suitable size and then dry them. Then they will put fresh grapes inside and cover them with another clay lid. These clay containers will be sealed with wet clay, ensuring that there are no gaps. Finally, these clay containers will be buried underground or placed in warehouses where the temperature is the coolest. With this special preservation method, grapes can be kept for about 6 months without spoiling. This is an extremely special method and bears the mark of traditional culture. Grapes and dates are crops that are suitable for the soil and climate of Pakistan. However, in reality, the export value of these products is not really high. Therefore, in the future, the government and farmers will have to change the methods of planting, caring, harvesting and processing to bring higher profits. So we have learned together the process of producing and preserving date and grapes in Pakistan. These unique secrets not only demonstrate the ingenuity of farmers, but also contribute to preserving traditional agricultural culture.